Hey, how's it going, guys? So in the last part, we exported the animations and meshes from Blender, and in this part, we're going to import them into Unreal Engine 5 and set them up with some basic settings and test them out. So here I made a basic empty scene in Unreal Engine 5, just for testing. And let's start by creating a new folder. So let's call this one FPS animations. And let's start by importing the arms. So go to Add and Import to this folder. Select the arms that we just exported and press Open. And this is going to give us a lot of options here, but most of these can be ignored. We just need to make sure that this is set to Import Animations. And then also we don't need the textures, so make sure that the textures are unchecked. And then press Import. And there we go. So this imports the mesh, the animation, and it creates a physics asset by default. And it also imports the skeleton. So let's go ahead and save those. And let's also go ahead and import the gun. So the same process as before. Import this folder and select the gun and open. And by default, this is going to assign it to the arms skeleton. I mean, the thumbnail is a bit wrong here, but it is assigned to the arms skeleton, and we don't want that. So let's go ahead and clear this like that. And then just use the same settings as before. And it's going to give us this warning that the bone size is too small to create a physics asset, which is fine because we can manually set this up later. So we can just ignore this for now. All right, so now we have our files and our animations imported. So let's also go ahead and import the texture. And I already set this up, but this texture is included in the source file, so you can find it in the link in the description. So let's import this. And now we want to create a new material so we can apply it to the models. So let's right click and choose material. And let's just call this M base. Let's open this up. And in here, I'm just going to do a very basic setup. So I'm just going to add a texture sample like this. And in here, I'm going to assign our texture. And let's just hook this up here to the base color and save that. And this is just a very super basic setup. We're not going to mess with the metallic or roughness or anything like that. Just keep it basic. So let's close that. And now we can apply this material to our meshes. So let's start with the arms. And here in the details panel, we can assign our base material. Like that. And do the same for the gun. So assign the base material like this. And now we can quickly preview the animations, make sure that they imported correctly. So let's start with checking the gun animations. And here we can see that the magazine is being animated just like we exported it, which is perfect. And let's also check this one. Yeah, so by default, the arms are going to be in the ground, and that's because we exported them being centered in the viewport. But we can actually fix that by going into view options here and setting the floor height to about -100, like this. All right. And the next step is going to be to create a socket for the gun. And this is used to determine the location and rotation, so that basically the placement of the weapon in the hand. And we can do this by selecting the right hand, which is the bone that we want to parent the gun to. So let's right click on the right hand bone and choose add socket. And then we can rename this to socket_gun, like this. And we can actually add the gun as a preview mesh here so we can more easily place it. So let's right click here and add preview asset and choose the gun. And by default, we can see that the gun is huge. So let's set this to the proper scale, which is 0.01. And now we can actually start placing it out correctly. So let's rotate it like this. And then place the location correctly as well. And try to get it as close as possible to the Blender setup that we had. We can actually change the perspective here to get a better, more accurate placement. So it should be facing straight forward, like we had it in Blender. Something like this, I think. It's pretty close. Let's just mess a little bit more with the location here as well. All right, I think that's pretty good. Gonna tweak it a little bit. All right, and now we can preview it, make sure that it looks about the same. All right, I think that looks pretty good. And now, in order to actually test these animations together, so make sure that the hand is matching the magazine, we can create a new character blueprint and assign these animations inside of it. So let's do that by right-clicking and choosing blueprint class. And then we can choose a character. Let's just call this blueprint character, like this. And go ahead and open that. And now we're gonna have this empty blueprint here with nothing in it. So let's select the mesh, which is the character mesh, and assign the arms, like this. And then to preview the animation, we can set the animation mode to use animation asset. And then we can assign the reload animation. Also, I should probably rename these actually to make it a bit more clear. Yeah, so let's just quickly rename these. Let's call this one animation underscore first person reload. And do the same here. So animation first person gun reload, like this, just to keep it a bit more clear which one is which. All right, so now we have the arms animation playing. And now we also want to add the gun in here so we can test the magazine and see if it animates properly with the gun, or with the hands, sorry. So to do that, go to add in components and search for skeletal mesh. And we can call this one gun. And let's go ahead and assign the gun mesh here. So click that. And just like we did before, we want to use animation asset. And the animation we want to play is the gun reload. All right, so we can see that they're both playing, but they're not attached to each other. So to fix that, we can drag the gun under the character in the hierarchy here. And then under parent socket, we can actually assign, find the socket that we just created and assign it to this one. And now we're going to see it's a bit off. So let's reset the location. And now we can see that they're synced. They're playing as expected. We can see that the hand is grabbing the magazine and then putting it back in, which is perfect. I'm not going to go through the whole character blueprint setup because that would probably require a video of its own, since there's a lot of setup to do with that. But this should give you a good idea of how they can be used and how they can be imported and used in a game. All right. So in the next video, I'm going to walk through the process of importing these animations into Unity and setting them up with some basic settings. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.